About a year ago, I was super into a little indie game called Don't Starve Together. It's a spin-off, sequel, expansion of Don't Starve, featuring some DLC from the original and extra features, notably multiplayer. In these games, the main goal is to simply survive, while the single-player version has some added plot and official ending. I'll mainly be focusing on the Together version. It features 15 characters with special abilities and items that are unlocked from the start. These used to be pretty damn unbalanced. A Wolfgang and Wickerbottom combo was pretty much unstoppable, but Clay is adding new characters and completely changing old ones, so that's pretty cool for a game that's like 3 years old and doesn't have a super active fan base. Anyway, with all the new additions, I wanted to revisit it, and I figured I should probably make a video about it. So that being said, I started up my world and gave it the best name I could come up with. The first step of any new Don't Starve world is picking a character, and I had to go with my boy, Maxwell. I knew I could have picked Warley, but the thought of not having Maxwell's sanity regen scared me, mainly because when you go insane, the game gets warped and it's headache-inducing. Now that I was in the world, most people would recommend that I find any sort of ocean and follow it all the way until I have a full outline of the island. I would also recommend you do this, but at this point I had spent over 4 hours trying to figure out and had outlined a map 3 times in previous worlds, so I decided I would rather spend the first day or 2 rather than the usual first 10 exploring until I had enough resources to make a basic base of operations. Call it sadistic, but one of the first things I did was kill butterflies, because their wings are actually one of the easiest food items to get, and they also heal 8 health a pop, which for my 75 health max is pretty solid. Upon seeing all the twiggy trees and sticks lying scattered around, I realized this is a twiggy tree world, which is randomly decided upon creation, and means that no saplings can spawn, which kinda blows considering saplings are much easier to farm and harvest. After a bit more grass picking, butterfly hunting, berry picking, etc., I found enough twigs and flint to make a pickaxe and an axe. With these tools, I could use Maxwell's main special ability and make some friends. These guys automatically chop trees and mine rocks for me while I can do other things. Their shadow-infused tools also don't lose any durability, which means as long as I keep them alive, they'll keep doing their thing. Issue here is that they aren't exactly the smartest bunch when it comes to avoiding danger, but it isn't too hard to replace them. The optimal just starting off setup is obviously 2 loggers and a miner, as miners are about twice as fast, and you start off with just enough nightmare goo to make 3 of these guys. I also opted to make them as fast as possible to conserve sticks, as I'd always have to waste axe durability on cutting down twiggy trees for torches and more axes otherwise. I did a bit more tree chopping. Well, I picked up logs from the tree choppers. But then night rang around, and due to my stick shortage, I pulled a pro gamer move. Basically, if you have sanity to spare, which is Maxwell I always do, then you can flicker your torch to avoid the instant-death night monster rather than having it lit all the time. Depending on how much you're willing to risk, this can make a single torch last 5 times as long, which is perfect for early game. While making a campfire is another twigless light source, it makes you completely immobile, not ideal for the exploring days, and requires additional fuel after you place it. About halfway through the night, my miner dude found a sinkhole which lets you go through caves, and I figured I may as well go down. Once I was back in the mines, I picked up a few ferns and light plants and then got too scared to stay down there because I wanted to save my torch durability and had no better portable light source like a miner's hat. But before I left, I had the first real fight of the world, stun-locking a single spider with my fist. As you can tell, I'm quite a pro. After returning to the surface, I found a surprise brick road. These usually lead to pig civilizations and the Pig King, useful for getting meat, gold, and pigskin. So I followed it both ways, and there was nothing. Oh well. Also, at one point at night, a mole straight up jumped over me. Like, what the hell, dude? You're lucky I could barely see, so I didn't lure you with flint and kill you for a morsel. During the same night, I found a living tree, which I directed my loggers to cut down for some sweet, sweet tree flesh. These bad boys can be used to make some magical items, and the only other way to get them is killing a giant tree titan that rarely spawns whilst you lumber. My main issue was at this point, inventory space was getting super tight, and I didn't have anything I particularly wanted to toss out. I ended up discarding my spider gland since they're mainly used in multiplayer and just act as a subpar healing item when you're all alone. After that I saw a beefalo and got excited because they can be shaved or killed for some pretty cool items, but then I realized it was literally only one beefalo, which is pretty useless. Then I got my first gold nugget, which is always useful for making a science machine, letting you craft more items, but I'd need at least 5 in total for an alchemy engine, a better crafting station, and another 4 for a lightning rod, which makes your base much less frequently burn to the goddamn ground. At least when you're not in summer. As I was looking for a place to put my science machine and officially start up a place to live, I actually stumbled right into a rock biome which contains all the gold I'll ever need. A mining we will fucking go, dude. I figured I'd live right in the corner next to a forest and savanna, which are also solid biomes. The first thing I did with my new recipes was make a backpack, which was certainly a lifesaver with my clogged up inventory. Then I saw a tall bird and, after collecting more gold, decided it was time for a real fight. I crafted up a log suit and spear and went into battle. Now for those of you who don't know, most enemies have a way of kiting them, basically attacking them in a certain motion to not let them hit back. Some enemies can't be kited or are hard to kite, like frogs, but a tall bird is pretty easy. Smack them once, or twice if you're good, run away until they peck the floor, and repeat until they die. I even had an audience. After they dropped down, I went to get my backpack and harvested their egg and meats. Once I put down my fire pit, I laid down the egg right next to it in an attempt to hatch it. Next on the agenda was to make an alchemy engine so I could get a much broader range of things to make. Luckily, I had everything I needed from my Shadow Bros doing all the work. Now you may notice that as I'm caught up in trying to find the crafting recipe for random stuff, my poor baby was dying of a heat stroke. I'm a great dad. I also found another living tree, so that's cool. I did a bit more gold gathering and then spent an extended period of time trying to kill a butterfly. Once I finally killed that guy, I realized that a crockpot was going to be the next thing to build, since it isn't too hard to make, but vital for any sort of long-term survival. All you needed was some charcoal from burning trees, but maybe a huge forest wasn't the best place to burn a small amount of trees. Ignoring that little mishap, I made the crockpot and then accidentally did the default skin when I was trying to make one with my fancy skin that I got from an event. Then I made a meatball, which is a pretty damn good food source for something that only takes a dead spider and 3 berries at its minimum, albeit with questionable real-world health benefits. After that, I did some mining to get walls for a tall bird pen. I only vaguely remember hearing this, but I'm pretty sure that tall birds respawn at their nest and you can put walls around to effectively get free meat and eggs whenever they spawn. Now, I don't know about you, but this looks like the art of a genius architect to me. I also scrolled through some of the things you could craft and saw a think tank, which both confused and intrigued me. I knew that you could explore the water in a recent update, but I had no clue how you actually did it or how it worked. So I got the wood to make it and then went spider hunting in the morning. I wanted some silk to make a bug net for a butterfly farm and a hat to warm me up when winter came around. In the process, I also accidentally got butter, which has a 1 in 40 chance of dropping when you kill a butterfly. It's super useful on its own, but also in cooking meals with a crockpot. When I got bored of killing spiders, I used some of my monster meat that I got from them to turn a pig I stumbled upon into a werepig. Werepigs do more damage and have more health, while also being hostile to the player, but are easier to kite and have better drops. I used his skin to make a football helmet, which has solid protection, and used the meat for a meaty stew, which heals a whopping 150 hunger. If I ate it while literally starving, I would be completely full afterwards. Now this is using every part of an animal. Unfortunately, in the Spider Pig Hunting Chronicles, I took a bunch of damage and decided to eat my butter, which heals 40 health. The following morning I set sail into the Great Sea. Then I realized that there was nothing interesting nearby, I had no clue how to properly use a boat, and as soon as I got off, it sprung a leak. But adventure! In the evening, I went for round 2 with the spiders and got enough silk to make the things I wanted. After that, I spent way too long trying to find the tab where you craft a bug net, and opened up a gift containing pants. But that wraps up the first week. This was a bit of a different kind of video that was really fun for me to make and hopefully enjoyable to watch. Bye-bye.
Eh? I can make you one of those. Oh no, I need food.